Welcome to this deep dive. It's crafted specifically for you, someone keen to really grasp the complexities of our evolving world.
And today we're diving into a really fascinating and, let's be honest, pretty layered issue. The
Yeah.
whole connection between artificial intelligence and inequality.
Yeah, fascinating is the word. You've brought together a really compelling set of materials, studies, articles, your own notes too,
hmm
and they all seem to circle around this central question, don't they? Will AI make the divides in our society worse? Or could it actually maybe be a tool for greater fairness?
Exactly. That's the paradox, the puzzle we're trying to unpack for you today. It's not straightforward at all.
Definitely not. And we've got a great collection of resources to draw on. There's the AI and Inequality Study Guide, really direct Q&A in there.
Yep, and the briefing document AI and Inequality, Impact and Strategies, which kind of lays out the core arguments.
Plus those detailed analyses in AI, Inequality, and Equity, and the other one, AI and Inequality, exacerbating or mitigating disparities. Lots to dig into.
So think of this deep dive as your personal walkthrough of all that info. We'll highlight the really crucial bits, connect the dots.
The aim is for you to walk away with a clear picture of the key issues, the potential solution.
Right. The risks, the opportunities, the big ethical questions. We'll try to keep it engaging, jargon-free as much as possible.
Okay, so let's jump in. This paradox, AI and inequality. It's not just good or bad, is it?
No, not at all. That's the core tension, really. AI has this dual potential. It could absolutely make existing inequalities worse.
Right.
But it could also be a powerful tool to help mitigate them, to promote equity. It's really about which path we choose, how we develop and deploy it.
Okay, so let's look at that first path, the risk of widening disparities.
Yeah.
The sources mentioned the digital divide right off the bat. Seems fundamental.
It really is foundational. If you don't have reliable access to the tech or the skills to use it, well, how can you benefit from AI?
Right. And affluent communities generally have better access, better infrastructure.
Exactly. That leaves underserved populations further behind from the get-go. It's a basic barrier to entry in the AI age.
And it goes beyond just having a phone or internet, doesn't it? The concerns touch on, like mass surveillance.
Big concerns there. And AI potentially reinforcing existing inequalities, changing how public services work, maybe not for the better for everyone.
Concentration of corporate power, too, and even disrupting democracy. These are serious potential downsides mentioned.
They are. These sources raise flags about, well, more pervasive surveillance, locking in societal imbalances, maybe even making them worse, shifting public services in ways that could be unfair.
Okay, but then there's the flip side. AI as a tool for equity, how does that work? Processing vast amounts of data.
That's the key. AI can sift through enormous data sets to spot patterns, identify needs, and help design solutions aimed specifically at, equity and inclusion.
Finding things humans might miss.
Potentially, yeah. Or just processing information at a scale that's impossible for us. Think about identifying bias in systems.
Like in law enforcement or the courts. The sources mention that potential.
Right. AI could theoretically analyze judicial processes or policing data to pinpoint biases that maybe aren't obvious, helping to make those systems fairer. It's a potential positive application.
And supporting diversity within organizations, how might AI help there?
Well, it could be used to analyze hiring and promotion data to flag potential unconscious bias.
Okay.
Or delivering personalized diversity training, maybe even helping bridge language barriers in international teams. Tools like that.
Got it. Okay, let's dig deeper into how AI could make things worse. The economic side seems huge.
Yeah, the potential for AI to exacerbate economic disparities is a major theme. It happens in a few interconnected ways.
The obvious one first, job displacement. Automation anxiety isn't new, but AI feels different, right? More capable.
Exactly. AI-powered automation could really accelerate job losses, especially in roles with, routine tasks as both manual and cognitive routine tasks.
Which could hit the middle class particularly hard, leading to this wage polarization idea.
Yeah. That's the concern. You might see job growth at the very high-end, specialized AI skills, and maybe at the low end, jobs that are hard to automate.
But the middle shrinks.
Potentially, yeah. Erosion of those middle-income jobs that have been, the backbone for a lot of families.
And the sources highlighted a specific demographic risk, Black Americans being overrepresented in jobs with high automation potential.
Yes, that's a critical point raised. Research suggests Black workers are disproportionately in occupations susceptible to AI automation, which could, unfortunately, worsen the racial wealth gap if we don't have proactive measures.
Wow. Okay, then there's the concentration of wealth. Who's actually building and controlling this AI?
Overwhelmingly, it's wealthy nations and very large corporations. They have the resources, the data, the talent.
Creating an AI equity gap, as one source put it.
Precisely. The fear is that the economic benefits of AI will flow primarily to these already powerful entities, deepening the divide between them and, well, everyone else, smaller businesses, developing nations.
And AI seems to favor highly educated workers, too.
That trend is emerging. Companies integrating AI often look for workers with advanced degrees, potentially reducing opportunities for those without formal higher education.
Which, again, could worsen income inequality.
It could, yeah, making it harder for people without degrees to find well-paying work.
And generative AI, specifically, was called out for its potential to widen the racial wealth gap significantly in the U.S.
Yes, some analyses project that generative AI could have a disproportionately negative impact on the occupations where Black workers are heavily represented, potentially exacerbating that gap quite substantially.
Okay, shifting from economics to bias. Algorithmic bias. This feels insidious, baked right into the code.
It's a huge challenge. AI systems learn from data, and if that data reflects existing societal biases, which it often does, the AI can inherit and even amplify those biases.
Like that Amazon hiring tool example that preferred male candidates.
A classic, albeit cautionary tale. The AI learned from past hiring data, which itself reflected a bias towards men, and it just replicated that bias on a larger scale. They had to scrap it.
And it's not just gender. Bias in resume screening based on race, or even intersectional factors.
Absolutely. Studies show AI screening tools can pick up on subtle cues related to race or background, sometimes in the language used, disadvantaging qualified candidates from certain groups.
And digital redlining in loan applications. That sounds really bad.
It is. It's essentially replicating historical discrimination in lending. If the AI is trained on old data where certain groups were unfairly denied loans, it might learn those patterns and continue denying loans unfairly, even without explicitly using race as a factor.
Troubling. And the criminal justice system examples are even more concerning. Recidivism prediction tools, facial recognition.
Deeply concerning. Tools like Compass used for predicting recidivism have shown racial bias. And facial recognition tech is notoriously less accurate for women and people of color.
Leading to potential misidentification, wrongful arrests.
Exactly. Huge potential for harm, and even things like language models associating negative characteristics with speakers of African American English.
That's subtle but significant.
It is. It shows how bias can creep in everywhere.
So where does this bias come from? Is it just the data?
The data is a huge part of it. Lack of diverse, representative training data is a primary culprit. If the data doesn't reflect the real world accurately, the AI won't either.
But it can also be introduced during development.
Yes, choices made by developers, how the model is designed, how it's tested bias can creep in at multiple stages.
Okay, and let's quickly revisit the digital divide, but specifically the AI divide.
Right, it's evolved. It's not just about internet access anymore. It's access to AI tools themselves, and crucially, AI literacy, understanding what this stuff is and how it works.
So marginalized communities might be doubly disadvantaged, lacking the tech and the understanding.
That's the risk. It excludes them from benefits, makes AI trained elsewhere less effective for them, and potentially leaves them more vulnerable to data exploitation or AI surveillance.
Yeah, that paints a pretty stark picture of the potential downsides. But let's pivot. How can AI actually help mitigate inequality?
Okay, yes. Despite the risks, there's real potential. Improving access to essential services is a big one.
Healthcare comes up a lot. How can AI help there, especially for underserved areas?
Well, think about enhancing efficiency and accessibility. Remote monitoring, telehealth AI can power those, reaching people far from clinics.
Diagnostics, too.
Absolutely. AI analyzing medical images, like X-rays or scans. The Core.ai example in rural India is fantastic.
Bringing specialist-level diagnostics to places without specialists.
Exactly, bridging that gap. Plus, AI could help identify high-risk patients for proactive interventions, or even overcome language barriers between patients and doctors using translation tools.
The Metro Health example using AI to reduce missed appointments for minority patients. It's very targeted.
Yes, using data to understand barriers and design better outreach. It's about using AI smartly to address specific inequities.
What about education? Personalized learning seems like the big promise there.
Huge potential. AI tutors that adapt to each student's pace and style. This could be massive for kids who struggle in traditional classrooms or in under-resourced schools.
Like the 1 billion project in sub-Saharan Africa you mentioned. Using AI for basic literacy and numeracy.
A great example. Using tablets, adapting lessons, and even simpler tech AI tutoring via basic voice calls, like VMO does in places with limited internet.
And things like translation software, assistive tech for disabilities, even early warning systems to prevent dropouts, like in Mexico.
Always, AI can make education more accessible and equitable, tailored to individual needs.
Okay, and financial services, helping the unbanked.
Definitely. AI can assess creditworthiness using alternative data like mobile phone usage or utility payments. Think M-Pesa in Kenya.
So people without traditional credit histories can get loans or access services.
That's the idea, opening up the financial system. AI can also help design inclusive products, digital payments, personalized advice, and reduce costs, making it viable to serve low-income customers.
Supporting vulnerable groups like migrants, refugees.
Yes, providing access to financial tools they desperately need.
And internally, within companies.
Yeah.
Using AI for DEI.
Right. We touched on this. Identifying bias in hiring or promotions. Delivering personalized DEI training. Helping with language barriers in diverse teams.
So using AI to clean up internal processes too.
Exactly. Making the organization itself more equitable.
Okay, so we see the potential, but how do we actually get there? What are the strategies and policies needed?
It requires a really conscious, multi-pronged effort, not just letting the tech run wild.
First step seems to be cost, making these tools accessible.
Absolutely critical. Things like institutional licenses, libraries, community centers getting access so individuals don't bear the full cost,
Yeah.
democratizing access.
And AI literacy. Can't use it if you don't understand it or if you're scared of it.
Right. We need comprehensive resources, training programs for everyone, not just techies, so people can engage critically, understand the risks and benefits.
I liked the idea of an inclusivity assessment before rolling out AI widely.
Yeah, like a check. Does this tool work for diverse populations? Is it accessible? Does it have biases we need to fix before deployment? Being proactive.
Transparency is key too, right?
Ab-
Knowing how these things work.
Crucial for trust and accountability. Open communication about what AI can and can't do. User-friendly guides, not just opaque algorithms.
And education systems need to adapt, training people for an AI future.
Big time. Universal access to AI education, training on the risks, the ethics, addressing financial barriers, especially in fields like medicine where AI is coming fast.
Which brings us to government. Regulation and governance seem unavoidable.
Essential. We need international guidelines, national strategies focused on the public good, not just corporate profit.
Things like mandating audits of algorithms.
Yeah.
Ensuring transparency.
Yes, and developing clear equity standards.
Right.
Empowering marginalized communities to have a say in how AI is governed. Groups like CDT and AAPD have recommendations on this.
And investing in better data, more diverse data, and the computing power to use it.
Definitely. Initiatives like KeyGIAI aim to help developing countries build local data sets and access compute resources, tackling bias at the source.
Plus building the human capacity, a diverse AI workforce.
Critical. We need people from all backgrounds building this tech and supporting the existing workforce through adaptation.
Reskilling, upskilling programs.
Exactly. Maybe redirecting AI development towards tools that complement humans, not just replace them, giving unions and workers a voice.
Things like an AI worker training fund, wage subsidies, stronger safety nets, even UBI gets mentioned.
All potential pieces of the puzzle. It requires collaboration industry, government, education, and targeted programs for those most at risk of being left behind.
And underpinning all of this, ethical frameworks.
Absolutely fundamental. UNESCO emphasizes human rights, diversity, fairness, human oversight. Medical groups like AMA and AAMC have principles for AI in healthcare. Ethics have to guide development.
It's a comprehensive list. But even with these strategies, the ethical questions are profound, aren't they?
They really are. Integrating AI raises deep ethical dilemmas, especially around social equity.
The potential for unintended harm, biased algorithms leading to discrimination, we've touched on this, but it's a core ethical worry.
It is. The scale at which AI can operate means even small biases can have massive discriminatory impacts.
And unequal access itself is an ethical issue, right? If AI benefits only a few.
Yes, exacerbating inequality through unequal access is a major ethical failing we need to avoid.
The broader stuff. Job displacement worries, The potential for manipulation, privacy erosion, surveillance.
All huge ethical concerns. How do we balance innovation with protecting people from manipulation or constant monitoring? Where does human judgment fit in?
The amplification of bias, it's not just replicating bias, but making it worse, potentially.
That's the fear, that AI could make discrimination more efficient, more widespread, if we're not incredibly careful with ethical guardrails.
And there's a concern about oversight, right? That regulation isn't keeping up.
The pace of AI is so fast, it's hard for ethical frameworks and laws to keep pace. That regulatory gap is a real worry.
Privacy and surveillance seem particularly acute, blurring lines between public and personal data.
AI's ability to analyze vast datasets, predict behavior. It raises huge privacy questions. And often, surveillance tech disproportionately targets marginalized communities.
So AI could replicate societal biases in critical areas like parole decisions, hiring, housing.
Yes, these are areas where biased AI could cause immense harm, reinforcing systemic inequities. It demands extreme caution and robust ethical scrutiny.
And this debate about human judgment versus AI, can AI truly replicate human thought? Should it?
That's a deep philosophical question tangled up in the ethics. Is human judgment, with all its flaws, still indispensable in certain contexts? Many argue yes.
There's also the idea of structural harms like widespread AI surveillance eroding autonomy.
Exactly. It's not just about individual biased decisions, but how the overall deployment of AI might subtly reshape society, potentially limiting freedom and self-determination.
Okay, let's look specifically at the future of work again. What's the overall picture from the sources on AI's labor market impact?
It's complex. Definitely not just one thing happening. There's job creation, but also displacement. Transformation of existing jobs?
New jobs in AI fields, obviously, but more competition for those roles.
Yes. Growth in high-skilled AI jobs, likely benefiting those with the right education and skills. Intense competition there.
But maybe some good news. AI boosting productivity for less experienced workers, improving job quality.
There is that potential. AI tools could act as assistants, helping newer workers get up to speed faster, and automating tedious parts of a job could make it more engaging for some.
Still, the displacement risk looms large, especially for routine jobs, widening that skills gap.
That remains a primary concern. Automation hitting routine tasks hardest, potentially squeezing middle-skilled jobs and increasing the gap between high and low-skilled workers.
And firms favoring the highly educated, fewer roles for non-degree workers, reinforcing inequality.
That trend seems likely to continue, making the path to economic stability potentially harder for those without higher education credentials.
So job polarization, growth at the top and bottom, decline in the middle.
That's the pattern many economists predict, yes.
And demographic impacts. We mentioned Black workers, but also women in some high-income countries. Regional disparities.
Yes, studies suggest different groups and regions will be affected differently. Women in some sectors might face higher automation risk, and the impact could vary globally, potentially worsening income gaps between countries too.
But again, the optimistic view. AI could boost overall productivity, complement human labor.
That potential is definitely there. If we manage the transition well, AI could lead to significant economic growth and work alongside humans effectively.
We're seeing industries transform already. Software, radiology, legal work, the gig economy.
Absolutely. AI isn't just theoretical, it's actively changing how work gets done in many fields right now.
So given this disruptive potential, what are the proposed solutions for the labor market?
A whole range of ideas. Tax policy reform, maybe taxing capital more, labor less. Stronger antitrust enforcement to curb corporate power.
More inclusive political reforms.
Right.
Alternative income distribution like UBI.
Those are on the table. Plus, massive investment in AI education and skills development. Preparing educators, focusing on skills AI can't do easily. Increasing diversity in the AI workforce itself.
Giving workers a voice, unions, worker groups, incentivizing training.
Yes. Formal roles for worker representation. Things like that AI worker training fund idea, wage subsidies, tax incentives for firms that invest in workers, stronger unemployment safety nets.
It sounds like a mix of adapting workers and reshaping the economy around AI.
Pretty much. Collaboration is key. Industry consortiums, government partnerships, and really targeted reskilling programs, especially for those communities most likely to be negatively impacted.
So, wrapping this all up, it's clear AI and inequality is, well, incredibly complex. It's this tapestry of threats and promises.
Absolutely. The sources you gathered paint that picture vividly. Immense power in this technology, capable of deepening divides or potentially bridging them.
Here's what's really crucial for you, the listener, to take away. The future isn't predetermined, right?
Not at all. The choices we make now, how we design AI, how we regulate it, how we deploy it, these choices, will shape its ultimate impact on fairness and equity.
Remember those positive examples, the personalized learning in Africa, the diagnostics in India, the real efforts to fight bias? They show causative change is possible.
It is. Which leads to the final thought for you. How can you, as an individual, whether you're deep in tech or in a totally different field, contribute to ensuring AI helps create more equity, not less?
What questions should we all be asking? What principles should guide us? It's a conversation that needs to continue, and your perspective matters.
Definitely. And if you found this deep dive useful, if you want to keep exploring the fascinating, sometimes challenging world of AI, please do subscribe to the Before AGI podcast. We have more discussions like this planned.
And don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Ian Ochieng AI. That's Ochieng for tutorials and other insights into AI.
Keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions. Thanks for diving deep with us today.